So the cryptocurrency space is a breeding ground for innovation, with new projects constantly emerging. Many promise to revolutionize industries or create entirely new functionalities. This can be exciting for users looking for the next big thing, but it can also be overwhelming. Today, y'all, I'm going to be going through 10 rapid fire, frequently asked or frequently considered questions from the skeptics to the neutral and the supporter of this new cryptocurrency project, Catchcoin. Let's talk about it. Let's welcome Nick, CEO. Nick, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Nick Lorris, CEO of Catchcoin.
Is there anything that you would like anyone to know about you specifically or Catchcoin specifically? Tell us a little bit about Catchcoin.
Catchcoin is a Web3 dApp that is using geolocation and augmented reality, similar to like Pokemon Go, in a gamified experience, allowing users to capture real value. So from the user experience, they enter into this gamified experience. They are able to identify different value propositions at some of their favorite businesses or relatively close businesses, like maybe on their path. They'd be able to see that there's value, and then for visiting, they're able to capture that value. So this is done for the purposes of digital advertising, but it can also be used for customer loyalty programs. So from the merchant side of things, it's an opportunity to use what they would have as an ad spend to attract the exact type of customer that they want to visit their physical location. They can choose many different demographic points that are provided in the user profile, identify who they want to attract, and then make it so that only that person sees that value proposition, that stablecoin. So it's a unique way for the potential, the prospects, potential customers to have a fun way of capturing that value, and a really powerful tool for the business to be able to bring those people directly to their location.
I've done a video on Catchcoin and I'm impressed with it. Has a lot of potential, and so I'm going to start with some of the questions from the community. Now, with its roots, with Catchcoin, with its roots in traditional businesses, it brings a unique perspective to the table. How does it stand out in a crowd that's saturated, or a crowded market that's saturated with projects that's vying for attention? You may have said that already, but let's go ahead and expand on that.
So, I've been in crypto for many years, and I can see a constant need for real projects with real innovation that are truly disruptive. From the ecosystem standpoint, we did everything we could to make it as attractive and advantageous as possible for people to want to participate. This is through our rewards. This is also through part of, everybody wants to get in early and watch something grow and take on a life of its own. So we feel that in the space, we're providing a number of key elements that we know those markets are looking for, which is that really good, inspiring opportunity to truly grow with the ecosystem. I have a lot of trust in the free market. So I believe that if you have something that's truly special and you package it properly so that it's, properly communicated to the market, that the collective intelligence of that market is a whole lot higher level than any of us individually. So I kind of felt like I have my own opinion, but I feel like if we put it to the market and they see it the same way we do, we're going to be wildly successful.
How will Catchcoin ensure widespread adoption and avoid becoming just another token with a niche use case?
So when it comes to digital advertising, it's a huge, huge market. We only need a very small percentage of that market in order to be successful. However, penetrating that market is very difficult because it requires both users and merchants in high numbers to adopt it at the same exact time. So that's going to be a very comprehensive rollout that's going to require a lot of resources and some very talented people that understand the dynamic of a national brand rollout that has such a high requirement for a bottom threshold. With that being said, our technology is what I believe very disruptive in the customer loyalty program space. So I'm still going into stores and they're handing me cards, and I got to stamp it and carry this card around with me. And then if I can keep track of it for my next 5 purchases, I can collect my rewards. So with us, it revolutionizes that in an unbelievable way. And I only need, for each account, that specific account's customers to participate. So it's very easy to penetrate that market. You know, I can meet somebody that has let's say, a chain of sub sandwich shops, and they have 5 or 6 locations, and they have the card, and you get a free sub. So now all we need to do is make ourselves visible and present in their physical location and allow their customers to know, hey, if you want to participate in the reward program, download our app. You know, and we can enter this market very quickly. We can open one account at a time. It doesn't require mass adoption overnight, and we can build a lot of strength. We can become profitable. We can get our brand out there. We can create content around the use case of it and grow into the digital marketing side of it. And that timeline would only be based on the level of community support we have. If we have a tremendous amount of community support, then we'll move very rapidly through that process and move immediately into the digital advertising side. But if we find that things are moving a little slower, it's no problem. We're going to be profitable. We'll be able to open numbers of accounts, high numbers of accounts, using traditional methods, reaching out to businesses, traditional business to business sales, and saying, hey, look at our tech, give it a shot. Your customers will have a fun time using it, and you'll find that you'll get a lot more value out of it because of the data that it's collecting and who's utilizing it and how they're utilizing it, versus giving out some cards and hoping they don't lose them and maybe one day it works.
Definitely. I share the frustration of having to try to remember a discount from one business to the next, and it's just like it's not even worth it. But
Nope.
I'm totally in agreement with all of that. Now, when it comes to people using the app, I'm sure there are a lot of security concerns, and so this question has to do with just the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency. Comes with inherent risks, of course, when you don't have a lot of education. So security breaches and hacks have unfortunately become a concern. So with Catchcoin venturing into the space, what measures are being taken to guarantee the security of user funds and data?
Sure. So, from a real technical level, that's not my field. What I do know is that we have fit into our agenda. This basically, it's our number one concern. Our value is based on the tightness of the system. If we have any type of vulnerabilities, then it becomes a question on the user side: is my value safe? The merchant side: how do I know that the people collecting the coins are actually in my business? So we can't allow for any of those vulnerabilities to be materialized. It has to be an extremely tight ship. So we've allocated the resources to make sure that, you know, from a technical side, it really comes down to how good is your security, how much time, energy, and money was spent on securing it. And it's one of our top priorities. Max himself, the founder, is an extremely security orientated person. His mind just works like that. He's always looking for, and this is my first non-traditional business venture, in the world of crypto and Web3. This is not something that I have a lot of time with. I'm an investor that was looking for an entry, but Max has been in this space for a while. I absolutely consider him a genius when it comes to the technical side of things. And his main focus as we move through time and space is really just avoiding the high number of scams that we're constantly being exposed to. And this isn't just in our system. This is every aspect of everything that we've done from the time we've started up until this point. It's really just closing the holes and eliminating any vulnerability that we can possibly identify, and they're plentiful. It's not a light thing that it's not something light that we can take lightly. It's a heavy task, and it's got to be met with a significant amount of our resource.
I've been hearing you talk about capturing that U.S. market. Can you talk about that?
So, coming into this, I've said a few times that, I trust the market, I trust the community. I think the collective intelligence is higher than any one of us. So I make it a point to really listen to the community. Um, early on, I was told, well, why Binance? Why not Base? And when I first heard that, Base is new. Binance has been around for a long time. It's Binance. I mean, they're one of the biggest players in the space. It gave us a certain sense of security. But I kept hearing from the community that they felt for different reasons that Base was what where everybody was going. It was where the money was. It was where the Americans were. It was where the real action was, the attention was, and I kept hearing it over and over. And I thought, well, who am I to get in the way of the direction that this wants to take? After I heard it a number of times, I decided to really take it seriously and start looking at the different considerations and the risks and the returns. And, we started looking at different options on how to go about it. And over that period of time, it became evident that we absolutely needed to do it. We just needed to make sure that we did it in a responsible way. So we really scoped in on how we would go about it. And the option that we took would not have even been available to us if it wasn't the community not only literally demanding it, but giving us their unwavering support and trust, because it wasn't possible. And they made it very clear that it's what they wanted. They made it very clear on exactly how to go about it. I had community members that I guess are operated a pretty high level in crypto themselves, and they were literally preparing me with ideas, notes, questions for me. So when I would go into meetings, I would be better prepared and ready to know what I needed to ask. So at the end of the day, it was community desired, community requested, and community delivered. I didn't like the idea of changing anything mid-flight. I don't like unnecessary risk. I believe we could have been perfectly successful on Binance. Maybe I would have had to direct my marketing more towards international markets or whatever. But I really felt like, hey, this is what they want. Then it's my job to get it for them. So that's what we did.
And just from a regulatory standpoint, like what steps are being taken to ensure compliance with international and the U.S. regulations as they evolve?
Moving forward as far as regulation, we recognize it's a gray area. We recognize that there's a lot of liability for any crypto blockchain orientated company in any space. Obviously, the United States is the place where most of the battleground is happening. But we're really confident that the changes that are happening are going to be in the favor for crypto. I mean, my personal belief is that this is a revolution. It's a digital revolution. It's taking over a lot of industries, cutting out the old traditional inefficiency and fat, replacing it with transparency and it being so fluid and easy, the amount of liquidity that it adds to markets, the amount of opportunity it gives businesses. It's positive, and there's no fighting it. In my opinion, in very short order, we see some huge macroeconomical changes in the United States and in the world. And as these changes take place, they are going to embrace crypto and what blockchain can do to solve a lot of the problems that the previous behaviors have created. And we're here as innovators We're going to make sure that we protect ourselves every way possible, But in the meantime, it's the wild, wild west out there, and we're not scared. We're going for the gold, and we anticipate things to go exactly the way that we need them to.
Agree. Now, your movement to base, in a sense, and not literally speaking, but as Catchcoin's user base grows, you're obviously going to need a robust technological infrastructure to handle like increasing transaction volumes. Are there any technological solutions that you have in place to address potential scalability issues?
Oh, every day I'm being brought with um, different options for us, whether it's for scalability or removing barriers to entry or making us more accessible, cross chains and exchanges and bridges. And, there's so many different options that, it really, we have found ourselves in the heat of battle, since we launched, especially with the rapid changes. And I had to take my attention off of things that we felt were very important coming out of the launch in order to address certain things that presented themselves as we moved through space and time that we felt were more important. So right now, I'm just constantly adjusting the list of priorities and trying to, not cross individual bridges until I get to them. But we've got several different independent devs that are either on the team or serving as advisors to the team, or even community devs that are constantly whistling in my ear, presenting relationship technologies, options, and everything is on the table. In the very beginning, I was asked a question, I don't even remember, but my answer was initially no. And then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, no, but based on the current circumstances. And I have to recognize that with as fast as things are changing, I can't close the door on anything. Things are going to change. And as they change, something that may not be viable today is going to be perfect tomorrow. So we're going to move through time and space, really willing to adapt and change and to address things as they come up and as they're needed. And everyone can see that evident as our recent move to base, because, last week that wasn't even on the table. And it was only because the circumstances truly changed. And we felt that if we adapted, that we would be far more successful, far faster for our community. So it'll be the same type of philosophy, mindset moving forward, where I'm constantly analyzing every option I can. And some things it may be like a no right now, and then tomorrow it's getting integrated because we have to move as fast as the space is moving.
Agree. Adapting is a very important word. And when you're speaking about how fast the space moves, because of how fast the space moves, what is the long term vision? Like, what is Catchcoin's long term vision? How do you see it evolving over the next 5 years or less? Because, and I heard you mention that on one of the spaces about something that could happen as soon as this year. Can you touch on that a little bit?
So yeah, if you would have asked me pre-launch what our timeline was, I didn't have an answer. I didn't have a clear answer because it really wasn't going to be up to me. I was going to move as fast as I could move with the support and the resources I have. And coming into this, I use the example all the time. Everybody thinks they got a cute kid, and then you see the kid and you're like, I don't know. So because it took a lot of time and energy and blood, sweat, tears, sad stories, the whole nine, it kind of became like our child. And I'm looking at it going, wow, this is beautiful, but is there a conflict of interest? Am I just thinking that because it's mine? Or, so I wanted the market to decide that. And when we put it out to the market, two things happened. One, I got an enormous amount of support. The ecosystem grew rapidly, and I realized, I was able to take that and kind of transmute it into how that would work out into our plans. The second thing that I heard was 24 months is too long. And I'm saying, yeah, but I couldn't commit to anything less, with honor, because I really didn't know what kind of support we were going to have. And if in the worst case scenario, I know I can do it in 24 months with no support. So Now that those two things have materialized, I see the support I have, and I recognize the community's will for it to happen as fast as possible. And they're putting their energy where their mouth is. We're in the process of updating the roadmap right now. We have every intention and plans on having this in use case for a customer loyalty program before the end of the year. Nobody really realized how close we were with the finishing of the tech. But we're not that far, and the support that we have, we believe we can get there very quickly. So we're hoping that as this year's retail Christmas extravaganza goes into boom motion, that we'll be a part of it, and we'll be able to have users gaining value and merchants capturing the information and seeing the value in using it, and be able to create an enormous amount of content off of it that will kind of springboard us into that next phase. But yeah, we shortened the timeline a lot simply based on what the community has desired and acted upon. And we're really confident now that we're going to be able to get there.
Sounds good. Sounds real good. Any partnerships that could broaden the reach and capabilities of Catchcoin?
So far, no. Again, we only unveiled it a short time ago. I'm only crossing bridges as I get to them. I have some very key people in my life that I've known for a long time that have networks and relationships more on the traditional business side of things. So I believe that with just tapping into a single relationship and it opening me up to a single network, that, maybe we won't get all of them, but we need a few to get started and to build on. And I think it'll be really easily achievable. I've also told everyone from the very beginning that our initiative in doing it this way, there was a lot of reasons. And one of them was, we need brand recognition. We need a strong community behind us to help us with adoption, with downloading the app when it's ready. If we have a big enough ecosystem and the community all goes and downloads it at the same time, the amount of exposure we'll get will firmly assist. Every angle of it is valuable to us. So, the community itself being an intricate part of our rollout, will have first rights. Before we go to anybody else, I'm going to be asking in the community, what entrepreneurs in here own businesses that can benefit from this. Go ahead and fill out this submission form. Let's get together for a chat. Let's discover the synergy, see if it can be valuable to both of us, and let's get that system in your business. Because I believe that as we grow, which we already have people, requesting this early in the process. I think that as we grow, we'll have a lot more. So I think just based on our community, without even having to go outside, we'll be able to find utility and use case, which was one of the primary reasons we went this route. We recognized how much value this ecosystem could bring to every aspect of our development.
I want to touch real quick on the CS token, the stablecoin. The simple question is, why the CS token? Why not a regular stablecoin like USDT or USDC?
So it could be nothing until it's a firm made decision. Nothing is in stone. Again, I'll cross bridges when I get to them. We envision it on being a catch stablecoin, but I'm really moving through time and space, again, relying on the community to tell me why not, what's better, how can we do this the best way possible. I want that input, because maybe there's something like with base where we needed that input, we needed that direction, and I'm open to it. So when we set that up, just like the way that we're doing integration, and there's a lot of really technical questions that have to do with decisions that are going to be made in the future. And I'll tell you, nothing is in stone except for the finishing and the development of the app and the implementation. When it comes to the technical decisions along the way, I want to constantly weigh the benefits, the pros and cons, the risk versus the return. I want the community to have a seat at the table and be able to communicate to me why this is better, why that's better. Initially we thought of doing it in the native token, but then we recognized that we would be making the merchants speculators. And, how are we going to get a merchant that's going to put his ad budget in on Monday, and then it's going to be different on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? It would be forcing him to play a game he may not want to play. And that would severely interrupt our ability to get adoption from the real world business. So we recognized it had to be a stable coin. Now, which one it will be, we're gearing towards Catch stablecoin. But again, you guys tell me, why not?
Utility and adoption.
Disruption.
Security concerns.
Security measures.
Regulatory compliance.
Legal defense.
Technological scalability.
The future.
Ecosystem growth strategy.
Community dictated.
Long-term vision.
Wild success.
Financial health.
The most important thing in an ecosystem.